I'm late. Um, I gotta do better. But I can't even blame it on the book today. I just slowed down in the second part of my day. I taught all day. I teach at two different universities. I'm at the second university where I'm supposed to be finishing my book. I'm just, I don't know. But I do have some good information for our history and politics at 9 o'clock Monday or 9:30, 9 o'clock Monday through Thursday, and class in session on Sundays. Those are usually recorded Zoom videos with other scholars. And I make them into videos for you guys to see what topics we're talking to, what different experts are, just giving us information that we can look into on our own. And I have some information for you to look into on your own. Of course, one of the main things we were looking at is the current administration's uh, convict leasing proposal, taking immigrants and violent criminals and Tesla protesters and sending them to prisons in El Salvador. And we know that one prisoner from the East Coast, who was a Salvadorian man, but had some residency in the United States, some temporary status in the United States, visa, whatever it was. Whereas he was protected as a United States citizen, the administration was so inefficient in this deportation proposal that they sent a man who had privileges of the United States or protections of the United States where he should not have been sent out of the country. So within the first 3 months, they have already messed up, just sending people. So this is probably going to shoot this plan in the foot, if not protect this from spreading to American citizens, which is what Trump articulated was his goal. But that's not the new part. I've told you all that. We've been kind of watching that. That was the video, I think, yesterday, but I have a new video today. I was going through social media, going through emails and things, and as I'm coming on to AOL, I see a press release by ABC News. Oh, excuse me. I don't know. I mean, I know that's the American Broadcasting Association. I do know that's Disney. But I would imagine rich conservatives would control Disney. I know that Disney was a Republican. He had a huge affinity for Abraham Lincoln. So it wouldn't surprise me if they lean toward conservatism. But here's the deal. And I've watched this country do this with black people a lot. And that's not to say they don't do it with other groups of people, but I find it far less done with white people. There was a headline that Mr. Garcia had a previous charge of scratching and pushing his wife. He hit and scratched his wife. What does that have to do with the president having an initiative that was so half-baked that they sent somebody out of the country and have no ability to get them back? Because that's the other part. Trump was saying what a great partner and what a great idea El Salvadorian leadership has with this deportation and prisoner deportation idea. When he said, hey, we sent the wrong person, they said, so? Now, I have no idea what is so difficult about saying, oh, this is the wrong person, we'll send them back. They won't send them back. So now suddenly, any of this bad stuff is coming out about what this man has done in his life, when one has absolutely nothing to do with the other. Whatever he did, he was in jail. That's your punishment for that. Somebody in the United States sent him somewhere he was not supposed to be without the authority to send him there. And now they can't get him back. After they can't get him back, now it's the smear campaign on this citizen, temporary or not, of what a bad person he is because he pushed and hit his wife. Now, again, I've been married 100 years and I've never pushed. Well, I don't know if I have pushed my wife. I don't think so, but maybe in play. But I definitely have not hit my wife. And I don't believe in hitting. I think that if y'all got to hit each other, y'all just don't need to be together. But things happen in a marriage, okay? If that's the worst thing that they have come up with, not this is a domestic issue is not necessary. Is that why is that coming up is what I'm talking about. This harkens back to George Floyd. You remember, George Floyd has somebody holding him down for over 8 minutes over a $20 bill. All of a sudden, people start talking about that he uses fentanyl. He wasn't using fentanyl when the guy was on his neck. Notice, and I'm just saying, check into it yourself. When black and brown people have been incarcerated or is there some type of background issue, suddenly things that have nothing to do with nothing start to come out front about them when they're the victim in the situation. Mr. Garcia, whatever he was a prisoner for, they did not publish what he was a prisoner for, because when they sent the 17 people to El Salvador, I was saying, what did they do? It's only 17 people. Why can't you put their names? Why can't you say what they did? Well, now they done sent the wrong person. The country that they said they were good with won't send them back. Now they're putting out all this stuff about Mr. Garcia's life. Just notice that. That's what they did with Rodney King. That's what they did with George Floyd. That's what they do with Sandra Bland. That's what all of the people, Tamir Rice, all of these people, all of the black people that got killed by police, they had in Texas a lady who went to one of the universities I worked for. I don't think she graduated, but she was a police officer. I think this happened 4 or 5 years ago. The white female police officer walks into this black man's apartment saying she thought it was hers and shot him and killed him. They started bringing out personal issues about the man that she shot. A man that got shot in his apartment. Hello, how you doing? Oh, Diana, good to see you. The man who got shot in his apartment. You know what? It could be me. One, I was late. I'm supposed to go on at 9, but I will get that squared up. Thank you for letting me know that the notification didn't come up. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, Dr. Darnell Bolton, PhD. This is History and Politics. We are following current things that are happening in politics and offering a historical reference to it. And in this particular case, we were talking about Mr. Garcia, who is the one of the immigrants that have been deported by, thank you for the light, one of the immigrants that have been deported by the Trump administration to the El Salvadorian prison, that they actually sent somebody who had American protection under the United States court. And they can't get him back. So what they're doing is publishing personal information about him as though we're victim blaming. But it's funny, when it was the Me Too movement, victim blaming was horrible. But when it's brown, black, male victims, suddenly victim blaming is okay. So when all of the black people were getting killed by police, notice that that was what they were doing. Victim blaming is not just a slippery slope. It's a bad idea. It's disingenuous. I can deal. You can deal with situations at a time. If we're talking about the situation in where you were victimized, if what else we're talking about has nothing to do with that, it's inadmissible. It has no reason to bring it up. So it's just something that we have to notice as a society, because this is happening over and over and over again. But what is the silver lining around this dark cloud? The silver lining is just this. Project 2025 has gotten out of the gate and it's already imploding. They threw forth all of these tariffs and screwed up the economy. They got to pull back on that. They're trying to deport all of these people. They've crapped the bed on that. Now they got to pull that back, which means they're probably not going to go to United States prisoners. And if they go to United States prisoners, they are definitely going to go. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that question. I think it said victimatology. It disappeared before I saw it. But obviously, historically, when it comes to convict leasing, the disproportionately and first used is generally black people. So the fact that they kind of shot themselves in the foot and have messed up this program, it's probably going to stop them from going further with that. So we have the tariffs pretty much shot down. Economic plan is probably not going to work. But if they push the economic plan, a couple of things are going to happen. If you know this is coming and you can get your money right, this is what I want you guys to do. I want you to buy cheap property if the market crashes. If you can get your hand on $5,000, $10,000, buy abandoned buildings that you can fix up later, get some property, and try to do something that is going to build you wealth if we are headed toward this if an economic crisis comes out of this. Try to prepare yourself now. Stop going on vacation, stop doing all that, put some money to the side. Because historically, land values drop. When people run out of money and they stop spending money, one of the biggest things that people buy, regular poor working people like us, is we buy houses. When we're low on money, we stop buying the biggest things first. So when we stop buying houses, that means the prices of real estate goes down. So now everybody, you know what your money is like. If you in the hood, you can pick you up in an abandoned building. Go find out where your money fits. I buy in my hometown. I come from a really, really bad inner city. I bought two houses for one house was $4,500, another house was $4,000. Now fix them up, and so that's what I'm saying. You can get know your price range, but if this crashes, take advantage in that way. But that's pretty much what we wanted to cover today. The fact this smear campaign that is starting on Mr. Garcia, and it's going to pick up, especially if El Salvador continues to refuse to allow him to be brought back to the United States. They're going to make it that he's such a bad person that we shouldn't care. And if the United States or the MAGA group or the white power structure agrees with that and they keep moving forward, I promise you, after the immigrants, they're going to start with Americans. Because that's what he said in the first place, remember. In February, he was saying, let's use United States prisoners. And who is disproportionately locked up is black people. So they definitely would have started with black people. And it's not the first time this has happened. Convict leasing started in 1865, same year as the 13th Amendment, when they freed the slaves. Out of all of the people that were incarcerated, black people made up 38% of the people that were incarcerated in 1865. But they were 90% of the people that were convict leased. They arrested all these black people and they sent them back to the plantations that they freed them from. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel, read the 13th Amendment, just Google it on your phone, and you will be surprised that the 13th Amendment actually says that there can be slavery in the United States. It says except for if it is punishable by a crime that you have been duly prosecuted for. If you have been duly prosecuted for a crime, you can be a slave. That is what it says. So that means what Lincoln actually did was he took the control of slavery out of the private sector and put it under the judiciary in the public sector. So when you see this convict leasing coming up now, this is a very old concept. And they did not just do it to black people, they did it to white people at the end of Reconstruction in 1877. So everybody has to keep an eye on this because this is going to be an us problem. All right, remember, like, share, and subscribe. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock, I promise we will be on time. Good seeing everybody.